Greetings and salutations. I am Karen Russmore. I remember how to do this. I dropped something. That's not what I remembered how to do, by the way. It's just, you know, been a while since I streamed on my channel for Pillars of Eternity. I did consider trying to fire up Final Fantasy 14 greetings over. However, I was met with a 3,000 line queue, so decided probably gonna have to wait for that to die down a little before I start streaming that, given I've only got like 50 minutes between finishing work, turning on my computer and getting into the game before I go live. So probably best to try and avoid that while the queue is somewhere in the thousands. 1 second, I just got a bit of a hang down that I'm seeing if I can get rid of before it really annoys me. And I can't. Okay, let's ignore it. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things. I kind of expected it to be ridiculously long queues. Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker came out on pre-order. Early access on Friday. And it was Friday. It's been a long time since Friday. And yeah, it's just been hammered pretty much ever since. You can get on fairly easily at like 1-2 o'clock in the morning. I actually loaded it up and potted around for a bit at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was, oh, this queue is not bad. It was like 18 or something like that. Early access Friday, officially today. Okay, so it's going to be even worse now, seeing as how the people who missed the early access have now been able to get hold of it. Good for them, but at the same token, it's not good for the queue times. But we'll burn those bridges when we get back to playing it. In the meantime, we're just going to stick with some Pillars of Eternity. That is a single player game. I'm playing it single player. I don't think it's got a multiplayer aspect to it, and so that's what will be happening on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's also coming this Friday. I am going to be taking part in a Manapot Studios one-shot for the EU Happy Hour of a Tale in Swords of a Loop as GM'd by JStation64. However, on this Friday we need to go through the character creation. So if you'd like to join over there, that would be great. However, I will warn you, if you're not interested in that, the stream of Prey or whatever else is happening this coming Friday will be delayed until that's finished. We're hoping to have it finished on time, but if it runs over there, then that is taking priority just because it's a one-shot and want to try and get it done, dusted, out of the way before going live, rather than trying to cram in the last part of character creation after a week. I think then the week after, I will be over on Manapot Studios for the full one-shot. So the 10th is the character creation one-shot over there, and then on the 17th is the actual play game one-shot. Depending on timings, depending on how everything goes, there might not be a stream that Friday either. But as far as I recall right now, because I'm terrible at recalling things, that is probably going to be one of the last interruptions to the streaming schedule that I have for the rest of the year. There is also a chance that I'm going to be coming back on the Mondays to do some stuff, given that I believe Fly Free or Die, All That Glitters Explodes is taking a break, but don't quote me on that. I need to double check it all. So anyway, without further ado, I have that open and it's working. The game is open in the background, but let us close out the background music. Let's close out all the applications that I don't really need right now. No, I need that one. Switch over to the game, switch it into performance mode, and voila! Alright, I can't actually see the stream, so Saber, if you could confirm that you can see the game, that would be great. The last we left off in Pillars of Eternity, I was getting into Lord Roderick's castle through his dungeons. Yes, Roderick's Hold dungeons. Things are going okay, although either is a little bit beaten up. Everybody else is looking okay, so gonna probably press on.
All right then.
Still need to try and figure out where the entrances, exits are. Good, good. Can see it, and it's all clear. Okay, this looks slightly better. Root around in this box. Take that. Have more supplies. Let's not go down that way just yet.
I can get it to spill its secrets. It's done.
See, this is one of the annoying things I feel about some of the lockpicking stuff. Is so like when it turns out just to be junk. You know, it's not like I can do much about it, and sometimes that's all you get in these things is junk. But at the same token,
hey,
it would be nice if occasionally, if you're gonna have to lockpick it, for example, it could do with at least. Oh, why did you go all the way into the room? I didn't want you to go all the way into the room, just to there. There we go. Chokeholds. Choke points. Next one, this guy. The ghoul. Alright, we got 4 up. Summon skeletons. Increased slash damage reductions for allies. It's been a while. It's been like 2 weeks since I played this. So bear with me while I remember how it all plays. Let's not use. Let's put some skeletons at the back. Something looks slightly more powerful. Human skeletons, low endurance, don't worry about that. The ghoul is dead. Right, let's take down the revenant.
Spot on.
And then it exploded. Blood and flecks of dried flesh encrust the restraints. The tank is warm to the touch. The glass vibrates with the bubbling fluid inside. Loot the bodies. Go in the chest. Nice amount of gold. I do like the way that they've got multiple currencies. Silver, something like that is, you know, worth slightly more. Although I do notice that it's like copper pieces, and then just says currency. It'd be interesting to see if looting it did change up how many you've got of the currency. Right, I'm well aware. So that's to the lower ramparts, that's to the moat. We've got that door, that passageway, There's lots of places to go still. Hey, my cat. Wibble. Wibble indeed.
Hey.
That's...
Hey.
This is a terrible idea. Why would I go running into the room? A woman caught mid-step across the room turns her head to face you. Long curls of black hair frame her face, on one side of which is flecked with some green liquid. The gaze she sheds upon you holds you in holds an eerie intensity. More interruptions. The woman sets down the book she holds, smiling faintly. What an interesting time we are having of late. So many uninvited guests. I suppose I have you to thank for all the damage to my work. It took me time to get those people back on their feet, you know? Osray frowns. What is it you're doing here? With those yours, I prefer cats myself. I have one of those as well. Osra studies you, a mouth crooking upwards in a small smile. You're one of Kulsek's little rebels, I take it. Come to fill his ambitions, put an end to his departed allies. No matter. What concerns me is the curse upon the Gilded Vale's people. I am on the cusp of a great discovery, and it is not Kulsak who undermines me. She eyes you. You might have chosen more powerful allies. What causes Widewind's legacy? It isn't the superstitions of senile old men, I can tell you that. Osray snorts. Ostraya snorts. The legacy is an affliction of the soul, and I have dedicated my life alongside my peers to understanding the fabric of souls, the essence of life. With any luck, she'll hang on the tree alongside her peers too. Elof's voice is cold. I consider myself the foremost student of Pangram's famed theorems. It wasn't by chance that I was called here to assist in determining the true cause of this blight. This curse is not a parting gift from the scattered god, nor a punishment for petty sins. It must be a localized effect, something which strips the soul from a body, as the bioex are known to do. And don't tell my town that. They get real embarrassed about trying to have me hanged. They might get real embarrassed about trying to have me hanged. I have detected, even so, lingering traces of evidence upon the bodies of so-called Hollowborn. That suggests that the soul itself has not been wholly destroyed. It remains, I think, intact somewhere, so that it can be retrieved, shooted, if you will, back into its mortal flesh. Why haven't you been able to find a curse just yet? Osha's expression grows cold. It's a full priest, Nedmar, the Birathian. Birathian? Yeah, Birathian. She sneers. That old man has woven a tidy little tapestry of lies and fables. Lord Raderick is a pious man, and Needmar holds power over him, especially now, after this business with Ygritte, as if that hollowbone child was my doing. In any case, my efforts are increasingly hobbled by ignorance. Not even 2 minutes in, I'm already clipping. Wow, what did I mess up there too badly? The priest has focused Lord Raderick's intentions to the ruins of a scattered god's temple. If it is consecrated anew, rededicated to Barath, then the curse will be lifted. Osha rolls her eyes. Raderick believes him, of course. In any case, he has supplied a vast amount of gold towards the effort. You will note that I am bereft of such generous support. She gestures to her lab with a sweep of her arm. I am left to scrounge for answers in this dismal conditions. Could I help you somehow? Osra angles a curious look your way. An interesting proposal. I certainly can't leave you threatening Lord Redrick's life. How would I continue my research if he was gone? She frowns. Still, perhaps we need not be enemies. If your true purpose is indeed, as Cossack claims, to help the Gilded Vale, then we are of one mind, and you may well be of use to me. I stand at the very brink of revelation, but the Nedmar interference has gone too far. What do you want me to do? I want you to deal with the High Priest, of course. With him gone, Redrick will have no body to distract him. We can focus our efforts on resolving this crisis, and we will have the resources to do so. Kill him, and in return I will give you the means to speak to Redrick. A secret way, by which you can avoid the guards. Oshra smiles crookedly. They are not as patient as I, you see, nor do they ask many questions before attacking. She raises a finger. All this, with the condition that you do not harm Lord Redrick. Ada's eyes light up. Hey, let's take the deal and then double-cross her. Sorry, I said that louder than I meant to. Got excited. Hey, Retro Ted, how's it going? Don't forget, my cat, to, if you could, post that in the Discord. See, I don't particularly like her. She's a bit creepy with all this necromancy. As much as I do want to avoid the guards and whatnot, I don't think it's a good idea to double-cross her. You're a monstrous as the creatures you make. Oshra's smile fades swiftly. Very well. If it's battle you long for, I'm happy to indulge you. Perhaps Lord Redrick will show me greater favour if I bring him your corpse as well.
Where
Took around the corner.
me too.
Mad of a goal. Combusting wounds.
Oh.
Can't see what's going on. You're getting terribly close for my liking. Cannot remember what any of these do. Have you sung 3 times yet? You have. Go. No. Summon 3 skeletons over there. How are we doing over here? We got 1 goal left. Let's mess him up a little. You have 3 attack. Osha. That's a goal down. No, please don't. attack me? Oh, I'm stuck. That's not a pretty thing. Are you stuck? You're stuck. Okay, we're no longer stuck. Kill that thing. Okay, right. These skeletons really do help. I mean, I've just murdered them because I didn't like their necromantic behavior, but I've just realized I am full on using necromantic behavior. Oh well. Better to be alive and a hypocrite and then dead and not a hypocrite. What's this? Grain. Oh, grain. And a key. A rusted iron cell key. This crudely shaped key has rusted from many years of use in Roderick's Hold's dungeons. Well, there's a black cat. At first you think this poor creature is diseased, for its black fur seems to have fallen off its hide in patches. But when the cat turns to investigate a fly on the wall, you note that the entire section of its rib cage is open to the air. Some of its tail has rotted away altogether, revealing a few jagged vertebrae. This doesn't seem to bother the cat much. It lets out a trilling purr and rubs against your shins. Pet the cat. You spend a few pleasant moments scratching the cat between the ears. Black fur comes away in clumps. Pick up the cat. You pick up the surprisingly light and unexpectedly pointy creature, and it purrs contentedly in your arms. I think I have a new pet. I do. It's no more. It's not going to be miniature giant miniature space piglet. It is now black cat. Because why not?
I shall.
Alright, you're looking a little bit messed up. You're still good for a little while though, but... Love the way it's like, you're stealing! Why is it surprisingly light? It sounds as if like it's missing half of its body mass. It is, my cat. Did you not hear the description of most of it being gone? The caster becomes able to see enemy weaknesses and vulnerabilities as though they were physically tangible, increasing the chance of landing a critical hit. 15% of hits converted to crits for 60 seconds. A fine stiletto. No, give that to somebody. Some copper pieces, a fine stiletto. A book. The Direwood, Part 6, The Saints' War and Widewind's Legacy. In 2807 AI, war returned to the Direwood. Saint Widwin transformed supposedly into the living incarnation of Eophas, marched into the Direwood from Reed Saras. See, beginning the Saints' War. The Direwood rallied at Halgot Citadel and took the battle to him in Reed Saras, attempting to prevent as much damage to their own land as they could. Even though they were devastating losses from the Direwoden forces, using Hard-Ret's military techniques combined with Gal Van Red's strategies, they were able to secure a few victories for themselves as well. Reed Saran forces made their way to the Direwood through White March, unopposed by the locals at Cold Morn, leaving Mercy Vale burned and devastated. The contempt of the Direwodens have for Cold Morn for its betrayal lasts well after the war's end. Desperate to end the war and eliminate Saint Widwin, the Magranic clergy of Direwood developed a special bomb that was hidden beneath the bridge at Halgot Citadel, intending to lure Widwin to the bridge and then detonate it. Their ploy succeeded, and Sir Widwin was completely destroyed, along with most of the forces with him and the entire bridge. The 12 Diawodian men and women who volunteered to delay St. Widwin on the bridge were also lost, their sacrifice and martyrdom celebrated in the Direwood in the ensuing years. The bomb would come to be known as the Godhammer, and soon after the battle, the citadel was renamed Godhammer Citadel. St. Widwin's forces were easily routed after his death, and Direwood set about rebuilding from the first major conflict in over a century. In retaliation for St. Widwin's actions on Eothas's part, many Eothasians followers were purged from Direwodan communities or driven out via social pressure. Less than a year later, after the devastation of the Saints' War, tragedy hit again. In 2809 AI, the first Hollowborn was reported in the Drywood. Many of these poor creatures died within weeks or months of being born. The outcry from the populace is calls for blame or punishment to be levied against someone, whether they be the gods, the mothers, the government, or the Ethasian followers. Responding to great socio-political pressure to try and help the Hollowborn, Animancers developed a process to transplant animal souls into the infants, that they might develop survival instincts and even a basic personality. The process seemed successful, so it was repeated on tens of thousands of Hollowborns, even though many Animancers disagreed with the technique, worried about the ethical implications. These protests were largely ignored or discounted. The process was soon named salvation. The Hollowborns given souls were called the Saved. 5 years after the first Hollowborn, an Olong girl, it's saved, entered puberty. She entered puberty. In a matter of mere weeks, she transformed into a ravenous, feral creature devoid of all consciousness. Soon, all of the saved would experience the same fate. Each one, upon reaching puberty, would transform into what the locals called witches, uncontrollable children. After researching the problem, Animancers discovered an incompatibility between animal souls and the children's bodies. This fueled the parents' angers, as many of them had to kill their witch children. The Animancers responsible were widely denounced, and many of them were dragged from their homes, beaten, and in many cases killed. Most surviving Animancers left the rural areas en masse and headed for Defiance Bay. Others left the area completely, moving to the Valian Republic to study in peace. Yes, which is why I'm surprised that you're not surprised at its... Oh! I mean, I'm not surprised.
All right.
My character might be. Alright, I could probably do with maybe thinking about heading out, but I'm gonna press my luck. I'm gonna quick save it. Press my luck over here. Trigger a trap. See if there's a primal ooze coming towards me. Oh, that's not good. Run away!
You can trust me.
Can we? Oh, they're still firing at him. Alright, get out and run away.
Seasons are in for
Skelly's. Flung him.
Leave it to me.
Oh, how long does that go? Oh, that's got some range on it. So, if we want you to come along here...
That's it! Make the bastard through that one!
And then... Doesn't quite go as far as I would like. Right, run away again.
Oh.
How many are we up to? We're up to 3. New set of skeletons. Go! 7 necrotic lance in there. Why not?
That's it!
This might have been a mistake. Human skeleton has left the party. It's a very polite way of saying the human skeleton died.
Backbones abate this.
No mistakes, just happy little accidents. I mean, there's happy little accidents and there's dying. These skeletons are really useful. If a little weak. Come on, keep firing.
How bad?
More skeletons.
These ones are in for a walloping! Rally, let's leave!
Spot on.
Skeletons.
I'll let Margaret fire bless this one. Leave it to me!
We have broken into an empty room. Something over there, but that's about it. Got us a moonstone. Which I'm guessing is going to be useful for something. Right, let's see if we can't get out of here. It has a dick pool. What? I think Retro Ted's got something on the mind. Right. Camp. And back in we go. Hopefully nothing respawns. That'll be so annoying. Okay, let's head over here. Because I'm not sure if I searched this way too well. Okay, I've already looted that, that's good. Because it's just that way and this way left to do. No doors on these,
Hey.
which is a bit annoying.
Leave it to me.
Where? Seal must. Spot on.
Okay, there's a few more grulls in here than I would like. Barbs of Condemnation, now that's just a one-hit target. Pray against fear, halt, divine terror. What's the one that I did? Yeah, this one. Restores endurance to allies and inflicting freeze damage.
What?
So move you back a little bit, and then... Oh, why does that not go through the doorway? That is some next level generation of bullshit. Yeah, I know that this is a raid, but I have a feeling that's going to go through Edra or Ida. God dang it. Right, let's blow some stuff up. Three have gone off. Let's have some skellies in there. Flank them.
Where?
More skelly bobs.
Row up 10.
I never realised how much of a delay there is in the Chromebook. My phone audio is at least 5 seconds faster than on here. I mean, to a certain degree, I think it's a bit hit and miss, the audio or the delays in these things. Because I've seen it, so like when I'm co-oping on Magcat's stream, and there are times when the delay of me talking is so far behind when it comes to like speaking in real life and the delay, but at other times it's near instantaneous, so it's a little bit weird. Oh, more memorials. We've got the T-80. I came, I saw her, I died. Oh, good for them. Trap triggered.
My wounds remain.
That wasn't smart. I don't like using the tried and tested retrotid method of trap detection and avoidance. What do you have here? Fine brigading. Some kind of rock and some money.
Hey.
Gouge marks and scratches line the lid, line the edge of the lid. The bite marks on these bones appear to be the proper size for folk and elven teeth. What is trap detection in this? Blast Aedra.
Hey.
Unlocking this will require the proper key. I have a key. I have a key. Is that the right one? No, it requires a different one. Stiletto, copper pods. More places for Kickstarters. Do wonder if I'm in here somewhere. Can't remember whether I got this game in Kickstarter or not. Trying to think. The retro trade approved method of trap finding. Isn't it the mechanic skill for traps? The thing is, it might be the mechanic skill for traps, but I am fairly well trained. That's for. So yeah, disarm difficult traps. Disarm difficulty 5 traps. Pick difficulty 5 locks. Plus 15 trap accuracy. Great. How do I detect traps? Formation, attack, cancel, select all, scouting. Inventory, character, journal, map, stronghold, and the options. And be in scouting mode. That's not the best way of finding traps, my cat.
Yes.
I don't know how good my stealth is. Yeah, my stealth is not very good, so the finding of traps is the only thing that I'm good at.
Hey.
Yes.
Got spirits and beer.
Certainly.
Right, so that goes to the keep kitchens, and this goes to the lower ramparts.
Hey.
Margaret's fire casts light in dark.
Let's go over there. Look, if it works for 22 kids with a football and a minefield, it can work for you too here. Yeah, not entirely sure that's funny, Micah. Feet are prepared, but hand, limb, faces works just. Feet are preferred, but hand, limb, and faces work just as well, I find. Alright, let's have a quick save. And let's see what's upstairs. Apart from the ramparts. Bad guys, apparently.
Let's have it out!
Chant faster. You're not looking good. And he got knocked out. Yay! Terrible things are afoot. Does that cover everybody? I don't really know much about the Trials of Endurance questline retro tip, sorry. This is kind of like my first playthrough. Causes enemy wounds inflicted in the area to ignite. Shouldn't affect I do. Right. Mush that guy up. What are you doing on your ass? Stand up already.
Not getting through me.
Oh no, they are getting through you. You are on the verge of dying. Just throwing that out. Yeah, you might die before you get knocked out. Human Scaly dead. Yeah, he died. That's not good. I need him alive. Hence why I gave no spoilers in the description. Yeah. And it is appreciated. I'm just letting you, or verbally reminding everybody watching, I've not played this before, so I really don't want to know too much about what's going on. I don't mind too much people saying, oh yeah, this was a favourite of mine. As long as the title of said quest line doesn't give anything away either. Bum, bum, bum. Let's go through the kitchen. Let's steal your stuff. The roast goat smells only faintly of smoke and burnt fat. Hunks of meat have been carved from the cold carcass. That leads to a corridor. That's more stairs. Doesn't tell me where it's going. See where it goes.
I'll see what I can find.
Fine quarterstaff, that might be useful. Maybe. Baratheon priest robes. I don't think that's changing between people. It's saying that everybody's wearing fine armor, and I don't think anybody is. Alright, that's fine, Brigadine. That's that. That is unique medium, and they're wearing nothing whatsoever. Because why not? Why not indeed? Alright, let's put some of this stuff away. I mean, it ain't nailed down, so I'm taking it. Redrick's Hold Sanctuary. It's like they're wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Oh, they spotted us. Ba-bum, ba-bum. Ba-bum, ba-bum. They're dead and I didn't even get to the second verse. Oh, you're a high priest. Quick, grab whatever he's been smoking. Oh, good, you interrupted before my verse had finished. Skellybobs!
We're not getting through.
That doesn't look like a fun time. Money, money, money. Junk, 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 junk. All the junk. We are not looking good at the moment. I'm starting to run out of health.
Alright then.
Probably need to go outside and rest up again. But then sometimes people die just like that. It's like, do I really need to rest? Can I not hide in one of these cupboards?
Me too.
They really do like making a mess of Dorrance. You guys, if you all focus fire, this might go slightly smoother. That's rude. A healing that. How are you doing to health? Are you good for? Oh, it's telling me up there. Yeah, you're fine for health. Murder him.
Yeah.
Oh, he died.
Row 10.
Hello, skeletons. Bye, skeletons. Oh, where the smeg did you come from? I was kind of wondering why the combat hadn't finished.
Hey.
Alright, now it's time to beat a hasty retreat, because I think you're slowly running out. I mean, probably got another room in there. Maybe just a one or two.
And what does the flame reveal?
The flame reveals nothing. The Great Western Stag. One day, Eothas was sitting on a wall, watching a cat play in the sun. A crystal hung in a nearby tree had fragmented the sunbeam and scattered small motes of light on the ground. They danced around the cat, sliding over him as he frantically batted at them. He spun in place, following one as it rushed past him, and leaped on it, trying to pin it down. Eothas smiled, amused at the animal's tenacity. The cat landed on the spot, placing his paws over it only to watch it flit away again. Eothas watched the cat's tail twitch and slap at the ground, annoyed that his prey could not be pinned. "Why must you tease him?" a voice said from behind him, accompanied by the crunch of sandals on gravel. "I'm merely bringing the dawn," Eothas responded. "I don't stroke the hunter's heart. That's your responsibility, isn't it?" "True," said the second voice, "but neither do you quell it. If the hunter could not see his prey, would he still hunt?" "So philosophical, Hela," Eothas said, and turned to greet the two gods that approached him. Have you come to debate the parallels between sight and desire? He gestured to the wall, inviting Hailey and Galawain to join him. They sat in silence, watching the cat who continued to hunt the sun, fruitlessly swatting at another mote and then rolling onto his back. I have created the ultimate prey, Eothas said finally, breaking the silence. It can be tracked, it can be followed, it can be seen, but it can never be caught. Galawain laughed lightly. You don't agree, Galawain? Eothas asked. While it is true that your creation is elusive, it can hardly be considered the ultimate prey, because it can never be caught. Because it never can be caught. He paused, his brow furrowed in thought. If that mote of light had substance, the hunter could subdue it. Otherwise, it is merely a dream, truly a fruitless endeavor. All creatures spend their lives chasing fruitless endeavors, said Hailey. It is the way of mortality. Galawain laughed again. I could create a creature, a living creature, flesh and blood, that could never be caught. I make your dream a reality. Now it was Eothas's turn to laugh. You propose turning a fruitless dream into a fruitless reality? How is this any better? A life spent in pursuit of an attainable goal far exceeds any other. But you just said no one could catch this creature. This is not attainable. Galawain smiled. Humanity has surprised us before. Indeed, it could surprise us again. I will create a great white stag, and I will set it free in the world. It will have grace, resilience, and tenacity. It will exist solely to be pursued for all its days, and it will never be caught. It will serve to inspire the hunt for generations to come. All those who wish for glory will invoke my name. All those who hear its story will ask for my blessing and find it. Hylia shook her head and threw Galawain a bemused look. I do not believe it is possible. So I too make an offer. To the person who catches this stag, and they will catch the stag, I will bestow upon them its grace, resilience, and tenacity. Thrice blessed they will be. They will ask for my blessing on the hunt, so they can obtain my boon. Galawain and Hyla took up arguing whose name would be invoked more when the hunt was on. Eothas sighed, a small smile playing at the edges of his mouth. He stood and looked at the sky. The sun had already started to hide itself behind the mountains. The cat, long ago tired of stalking the moats, had fallen asleep beneath a tree. He turned and looked at the other gods, deep in debate, and sighed again. I merely bring the dawn, he repeated as he made his way down the path. It's up to you to see what I reveal. Scrawled note. I got your gift. I can't believe someone actually wrote down that kind of thing on parchment. I left something for you in the chapel. Careful not to go digging in the wrong skull again. That's a certain change of tone. Ba-bum, ba-bum. Ba-bum, ba-bum. Robbing place. The many faces of Barath. How fitting that we know the gods of cycles, doorways, mortality, and inevitability as Barath, while the Valians know this very same god as Kirono. If nothing else, Barath teaches us the duality of existing in all things. Greetings. Thank you for the follow. How goes it? Ivysaur, e.g. Welcome to my channel. I'm playing through Pillars of Eternity. That's what I'm playing. I remember these things. It's my first playthrough of the game. I know that it's been out a while, but I'm terribly behind with these things. Hi, Cat and Ted. Ah, yes, my cat. I'm Retro Ted. Where was I up to? In the ruins of the Ir Glenfarth, Barath is depicted in the form of two semi-skeletal figures, one male and one female. Biwen Ianque and Anque e Biwen, literally life in death and death in life, in the Glenfarthen tongue. Male and female, inside and outside, life and death. We often think of Barath by imagining two sides of a coin, or of the two end points of a journey. It is said that the Barath has the most petitioners of every god, and this likely true. Who amongst us have not prayed for the cycle to hiccup? Who has not, for in a moment of sadness, yelled at Barath to make an exception for our fallen loved ones? Barath may not rescue our loved ones, but it answers our prayers in its own divine way. Barath is a god that makes life end in death, and it is also the god that makes death end in life. Barath, Rono, Bowen I Iskew, and Skew I Bowen, whichever of these many names you prefer to use, deserve our prayers, for it is given us the promise of life's eternal renewal. I remember struggling with the pronunciations in this game and I wasn't streaming. Yeah, it's one of them times where it's like, I wish I knew Welsh, because I have a feeling, and I don't know for certain, but I think knowing Welsh in this would help a little bit in the pronunciations. But then again, I fail to pronounce English a lot of the time, so what do I know? The Direwood, Part 5, the proliferation of animancy. Animancy, outlawed under Adar rule, was technically no longer taboo after Hedret's rebellion. Academics began its study again in earnest in 2681 AI. By 2697 AI, there was almost 40 academics actively researching the field in both the Direwood and the Valian republics, even though no significant results had been discovered. A tragic breakthrough of sorts happened in 2704 AI. An animancer working at Bale Reach accidentally shattered the souls of about a dozen volunteers who had been helping him. In retaliation for the deaths, the citizens of the area stormed his house and killed him. The Earl of the region, not wanting to waste resources or anger locals any more than already were, did nothing to find the head of the vigilante mob. But neither did he outlaw animancy. To ensure their own safety, most animancers moved from rural areas where they were studying and settled in Defiance Bay, many of them choosing the emerging and wealthy districts of Brackenbury as their new homes of operations. While there were still a few breakthroughs and study of animancy continued for the next 24 years, it quickly slowed as it became cost prohibitive and complicated the more people learned about it. Most animancers couldn't afford to continue research without the support of donation or gifts from wealthy individuals and organizations. In 2737 AI, some animancers, desperate to continue their studies and seeing no other means of furthering their research, entered the forbidden ruins of Air Glenfarth to further their study. They discovered some such sites had strange artifacts that seemed to bear affinity for to soul essence, and began to prod at the devices for further insight. Even with continued research, they are unable to tell quite what they have discovered. Eventually they were found out by the Glenfarthans, who captured some of them, demanding them to they be punished for their crimes. The Direwoden authorities, in order to maintain the treaties and keep the peace, had no choice. They allowed the Animancers to be executed according to Glenfarthan tradition. This led to the ducal to make an additional proclamation. The study and practice of animancy on or even near the sacred Glenfarthan sites would be punishable by death. In 2780 AI, in order to solidify relations again with the Glenfarthans, the Direwoden's government allowed some animancers to begin training and experiments in conjunction with Glenfarthan mind hunters, their native scythers. This was an exchange of information. The Animancers documented the secrets of the Mind Hunters' powers, and the Mind Hunters learned new techniques for concentration, which assisted them in taking their powers to a level no Glenfarthan had seen before. The Cyphers, no longer wary of their Animancers' intentions, trusted them to such a level that they convinced the Glenfarthans to give some Animancers limited access to some of the training sites where the Glenfarthans practiced. The Anamphas of the Glenfarthan tribes opened the training grounds to the Animancers. They were not allowed inside, as this was strictly forbidden. But the generous allowances by the Glenfarthans were seen as a breakthrough in relations between the Drywood and Ear Glenfarth. Over the next 80 years, the Animancer research would continue unimpeded. With the exception of some minor squabbles, there had been no major strife between the two groups for almost 120 years since. On the plus side, I don't know Welsh either, so I don't know when you're wrong. That's true. Karen fail English that's impossible. Wow, so you like to read the optional books in the game? I like to read the optional books until it gets to the point of I'm starting to notice repeats, or I lose track of whatever thread that it was going along. But I find it beneficial to try and get to know a little bit more about the setting, not just the story that you're playing, to a certain extent. Right. So that door is kind of locked. The game just paused because there's another guy over there. Okay. Shoot.
Lava.
I was hoping to see if there was more of them. I am not in a healthy position for this.
Move.
Two verses down.
Leave it to me.
Oh wow, they've pretty much healed this guy.
Lava.
Give me skeletons. Might not end well. Enchanters in this game are not like bards in other games in the kill unit class. Yes, I went for the enchanter because you know, I play a variety of other games, D&D and Pathfinder being the main two that I've played tabletop for the most part. But a lot of games tend to follow the same, so like, he's not dead as he's hiding. God dang it. Can we blow up that area? Ah, he appeared, he appeared. Run away. I should not be that close to the bad guys. Oh, Skelly Bob's just bit. Oh, that's recharged. So yeah, when I sat down to play Pillars of Eternity, it was one of them where it's like, decided to go with one of the two classes because there's ciphers and there's the chanters. The chanters did sound very bard-like, but at the same token, it was one of them where it was bard-like, but not bardish. So I was curious to see how that worked. Kind of interesting. I do like the way that it is playing with the whole, you know, the song that you build up, and after so many chants you get to break out a boon. The skeletons have been so clutch in a couple of places. Just absolutely, you know, there was one where everybody else was down and out for the count, and I just ended up having to kite the bad guys away from them, and just hitting it with a bow over and over again, but using the skeletons as a buffer between. I am curious to see how the other summons go in this game, but I'm not entirely sure. You know, it doesn't give you as much information as I would like. It just says it summons 3 skeletons. Alright. 3 human skeletons. Okay. No other details other than it's 3 skeletons. The 3 human skeletons. Just gonna retreat out of here for a moment. Take a quick breather, rest up. Try not to find any more faces, any more traps with my face. Good thing is you can always respec at the end for a small thing. I didn't know that. Maybe I'll take advantage of that. I tend to be very stubborn. I tend to be very much so like, I make my mistakes as long as it's not a game breaker. I can't remember. I'm playing on normal difficulty. I'm not interested in doing a flawless difficult run, or you know, and I'm not above. If a part of the game gets too difficult for me, I will drop down the difficulty just to get past certain spots. I'm mainly in this for the story, but at the same token, I don't play it on the story difficulty levels, mainly because I find anything that has a story difficulty is the combat becomes so easy that it's no longer a challenge. And then I get bored of the mechanics of the game. Hey Krifu, thank you for the subscription. How are you today? People were struggling on easy when this came out, so they added story difficulty in a patch. Fair enough. But yeah, it's one of them where it's I've played a fair few games like this, and it very much depends on how well I get into the mindset of the game to a certain extent. You know, I played the original Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale. Did I play Icewind Dale before they introduced difficulty levels? Or did it always have a difficulty level? I know I played Baldur's Gate and that didn't have difficulty levels, and to a certain degree, you know, it was like you just had to work out how to overcome certain fights. And there was a bit of saves coming, but back in the day when you just had to deal with it more than anything. So I'm kind of used to that, so I don't immediately run away the moment it gets difficult. I'll give it a few good attempts, but at the same token, I'm not above dropping it down. I'm doing good, okay. I'm doing okay. Oh wow, I can't English. I'm doing okay, thanks. All is well here. Just working on some more renders and listening to Kyron work through the game. I like this game. I think Matt Mercer voices one of the party members. Is it?
What?
Yes?
This guy you're thinking of?
How may I help? Yes?
Come on, say something interesting.
Fight! You're worse than Aloth! Fight! You're worse than Aloth!
Or is it this guy?
Hey. 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 Kinda like your attention, don't you?
Because the other thing is, you can also, there's one of the player voice packs, which is also done by Matt Mercer. And one of the previous times that I tried playing this game, I chose the Matt Mercer voice pack, and those two were the first two to join my party, so it was just 3 Matt Mercers running around everywhere. They all sound like him. The sequel to this is also pretty good. I don't think I've finished it. I've not finished this one. This is my first playthrough. The Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire is also on the list. Are you gonna notice us? No, you're not. You're gonna walk away. Oh, they noticed us. They noticed us.
Me too.
Run away. Right, let's try weakening up some of the ones who aren't in heavy armor.
Join arms!
Let's have some scallybobs.
Grow up.
Okay, you can't get there, so just stab that guy. I do think people are disappearing on me, which is not fair. Run away a little. No, you got knocked out. Okay. Lie down a little. Ah, Temple Guardian got around to me. Let's try knocking him on his ass.
Hey.
Let me just do a little dozy do over there. We're up to 3 versus new skeletons. Is that good or bad? I think it just lost interest. Yeah, I mean, if Krifu is anything like me, one of the things is, it's all like, games aren't bad, it's just I have, for me, one of the things is, I'm terrible at finishing video games traditionally, because I will just get bored and move on to play something else. It's not that the game is bad narrative, it's the fact that I like multiple different mechanics, and when it gets so far through a game. What is that? It's one of the priests. Let's bring you slightly closer. Actually, let's try using this one.
My room.
Get up, lad!
Oh, that's not useful. Oh, that's not good. Run away! Run away, run away. Try to distract them with terrible things.
Yes.
Run away! I'm far too squishy for this. No, keep running. Stop for nothing. No, keep running. I am trying to remember what these do. Dull the edge and blunt the point. That might have been useful earlier. Run away, run away, run away. Oh no, you got KO'd.
Indeed.
Right. No, just keep running, keep running. Keep running. You are not gonna make it. Make it downstairs.
Venture forth while in combat.
What do you mean can't adventure forth while in combat? I can run down the stairs while in combat! You lie like cheap Japanese... Watch. World streaming has made me finish more games in the last year than I normally ever would. Yeah, I am the same, Krifu. It's in the last year I have completed 6 computer games. Previous to this, I complete maybe 1 or 2 video games for a year. And that's only the 1 or 2 rare ones that really grab my attention. Right, okay, so going down that way lies pain and death. So let's curve round this way. How close am I to a level up? I am not very close to a level up. And especially long duration games, because, you know, one of the things is, it's like, you know, I like a lot of mechanics. I like, you know, the sort of like isometric gaming, and in its many different forms. But at the same token, you know, towards the end of narratives, it can, especially with certain games and certain spell casting abilities, it's like, you know, there is a reason why a lot of wizards in D&D take Fireball. It's not that Fireball is the best spell for every situation, but when combat is going on and on and on and on, and you know, fire resistance is fairly easy to get hold of, it's like you kick open the door, you don't ask how big the room is, you cast Fireball and weaken up the enemy. And then towards the end of it, it's like, okay, you're going to be doing this because that's the best way of dealing with these things, and you're going to do this, and he did not want to go that way. Turn around, turn around, turn around, don't get a scene. Okay, great stuff. Okay, that's one of them down. Wait, no, that's an acolyte. Take out the acolyte. Take out the acolyte. Oh, kill him! Right, and take out that guy. I really need to work on making these slightly bigger AoEs. You know, when it came to the end of Pathfinder Kingmaker, it was one of them where it's like every single fight was pretty much exactly the same as every other fight.
Oh, I tell
Yeah, occasionally I'd spice it up with a couple of alternatives to what I was going to be doing. But for the most part, you know, everybody was doing exactly the same. Are you stuck? You're not stuck. Okay, you go hide at the back. No, actually just hide at the back. Hit that guy. Actually, not that guy on his ass.
Yes. I shall deal with it.
Skeletons! Skeletons attack! A group of healers is a terrible, terrible combination of people. You have to burn through so much of their healing abilities before they eventually give up. Yeah, have some combustible wounds. More skeletons.
Yes.
Alright, you obviously cannot reach him, so stab somebody else, Skelly Bob. Okay, one of them's dead. One of them's dead. Two of them dead. Three of them dead. Yay! That's what we call murder! Alright, just junk all of that. I do kind of like the fact that, you know, it's useful because it allows me to loot everything. But at the same token, it's a little bit unrealistic that I'm carrying around this party stash and I'm just dumping everything in there. You know, there's so many pieces of armor in there, and that I can't possibly be carrying all of this stuff. We got boots of evasion. Why are they not equipped on somebody? Also, fine stiletto. Stiletto. Let's take the fine stiletto. Still want you on the bow though. Reflex bonus is that one, so 40, 30, 20, 47. Okay, you get the boots. That did nothing for you. Alright, you don't get the boots. You don't get... You could take the boots, but that's... Actually, no, you've got a better reflex than me. You get the boots. Do that. That's not doing anything. Some things are not stacking. I'm guessing it's this. Cloak of minor protection. Fulvano's amulet. So that's giving it a reflex. That gives a reflex. You weren't getting a bonus. Oh, you did get a bonus, but you lost the constitution, which was a useful thing for you. So it's going to you because you don't have a bonus, and it's giving you something at least. Okay, there we go. I am still figuring out the game. It's not murder, it's unaliving people. Preemptive coffin resonant creation. I mean, I'll just call it what it is. It's murder. You know, people are dying by my hand. And we'll steal the fruit and vegetables as well. Okay, right. Let's save that. Steal whatever that stuff is. Right, and oh, it actually told us where we're going, to the siege platform. Apparently we've got a siege platform up here. You could so walk on that roof. kind of outside.
We'll keep to ourselves.
Rot ward amulets. Amulets, blah 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 blah. Poison effect tick rate -50. Disease effect tick rate -50. Might be useful if somebody gets poisoned or diseased. Fan the flame. Oh, I didn't check out her spellbook, did I? Potion of iron skin. And a couple of bloodstones. Doobity what's it, flibbity flob. Here we go. Ghostblade calls for a field of unearthly blades into existence, inflicting immediate piercing damage and the hobbled afflictions on the target in the area of effect. Chill fog calls a blindingly white icy fog into existence, inflicting blindness and freeze damage over time to any in the area of effect. On targets. Oh, faux AoE. It's one of the things that you really need to. No shield, just use the nearest door. I mean, he is using the door. It's a ladder door. I like the idea of reading another person's spellbook to learn new ones. Yeah, it's one of them where it's I really do like that aspect of these things, especially when it comes to games where you can learn more spells. The thing is, it's not just that. I can even use the other person's grimoire. Without learning, so I don't know that I can't cast some new spells, but you can have multiple grimoire in this, and as such, you know, you can prepare for the day a lot of different spells across multiple books. You know, if we just look at his book, for example, he knows 5 first level spells, can't fit them all in his grimoire, could crack a, you know, could put the 5th one into a different grimoire and be like, yeah, we're done. Yeah, it's a neat mechanic. I mean, I don't know what's happening at these levels, 9th and 10th, where it doesn't actually have spell slots, but I'm guessing that's end game where it's like just about anything could happen. Right, what is the necklace look like? Oh, the necklace is the cloak. Okay, well, you might as well equip that and put that away. That one wasn't. The cloaks aren't doing anything for some people. They just look fancy. Do we have fan the flame? Yeah, we do have fan the flame. Okay. Right, I have a fairly high lore skill, I think. Lore is 7, mechanics is 5, lore is 9. Okay, well, I'll leave it with the wizard for now. Oh, you got 2 of them. Congratulations. Wait, what? How much is that going to cost? 100 copper pieces. I got 3,000. I'm going to learn these. I do like the Ghostblades one, and no, I want to learn it. Thank you. Combust wounds, ray of fire. Put those in there. Fan flames. This is a very aggressive book. Fetid caress. The target becomes paralyzed, afflicted with boiling pustulates of foul-smelling liquid that erupt from their skin and sicken nearby. That's just an AoE, so it could even affect. Pimp cloak. 'Cause 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 'c Did I tell you I found some awesome minis in a gaming shop? 2 Vesk soldiers, 2 Cassandra operatives, 2 human mechanics, 2 Sheeran necromancers, and 2 Skidamander envoys. Nice. I don't actually do minis. It's one of them where it's like, I appreciate the appeal of minis, and I have no problem with other people doing minis. It's just TTPRG has already taken a lot of my money. And what remains of my money I would like to keep. And you know, I collect the pawn things for Starfinder. So it's not like, you know, if I do play in the real, I'm using counters everywhere. It's just so much cheaper and easier to use the pawn collections than it is to use the to try and find minis for everything. You know, it's just, I started painting a few years ago because at most cons you can find a free mini painting area, and it's nice to sit down and relax for a while. Yeah, that's fair, and that's something that I've contemplated doing, is learning how to paint minis. Is there a door on this? Or is there another? So that goes to the kitchens, that goes to the upper ramparts. This room goes to death, and I have a feeling I need in that room, but I don't want to die again. How am I doing on level up? I'm nowhere near a level up. You know, I don't honestly think. Does this even tell me how much XP I'm getting from murdering people? No, it's not really. Yeah. Was also watching Will Freedy's Painting Guild at the time. I have a small collection, just can't find to paint them. Fair enough. I think to a certain degree that's one of the things that is also for me. It's like finding time to paint these, learning how to paint them up to a quality that I would be okay with showing off to a certain extent is also another aspect of it all, where it's like, it's all fine and well painting minis to the quality that you're okay with.
Yes.
And if it looks terrible, but you are happy with it, then by all means,
Leave it.
have it at that quality. But at the same token, you know, it's one of them where it's like, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I would love you not to die. Wow, you're just getting murdered, aren't you? Right, go over there and there we go. Bit further. There we go. Right, okay. Murder this priest guy. He's healing and I don't like it. Let's get some skelly bobs out. And go harass that archer.
That's not very
Knock him on his ass. I said knock him on his ass. Is he immune to that?
Let's try something else.
Let's have it out. Leave it to me.
Do wish these people would learn to die already.
Finish them. Quick, babe.
There we go. How you doing? You're running out of health. loot everything. I
Alright,
think I
then.
might have just given that to somebody. No, not too bad, but just junk it all. I made the mistake of getting into. I don't think I have patience for Warhammer army painting. I made the mistake of getting into BattleTech. Now I have a bunch of mechs to paint. My cat, you just want more herbies and my cats to smash things up. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, it's one of them. There's a lot of game systems out there which have minis. I should really be thinking about going towards the accent. I always get dirty looks when I go into Warhammer shop and tell them that I'm just looking for a singular mini for D&D. I mean, I don't see what the problem is. If you just want one mini, you just want more mini. If I'm guessing it's the players and not the staff that are giving you dirty looks.
I'll see what I can find.
Looks at half-painted metric ton of Warhammer models. Though it's definitely the staff. The staff can go whistle, in my humble opinion. If you want to buy one mini, it's still a sale that they wouldn't have had if you didn't walk in there and want a mini. I have a feeling I could have tried coming up this way. Maybe creeping up. It's just one of them that I don't see a way down over that way. Oh, we see bad guys. We see 3 bad guys. We got Rhetoric Guard, Archer, and Rhetoric Guard. Okay, let's quick save that and go in for the murder. I want you further forward because your radius thing helps with the not taking damage stuff. Alright, it would also help you if you shot the bow.
Yes.
Let's have it out.
Oh, you're getting murdered. Let's have some skeletons back there. And murder the archer. Murder the Rhetoric Guard.
How may I help?
How's the murder going? Is everybody bleeding healing in this game?
Yes.
What is this? Increases slash and shock damage reductions for allies. Not sure if we're getting slashed at. Foe AoE. Yeah, let's lightning these guys. You have to double check with the AoEs that it does say foe in there. If it just says AoE, then it'll be. Could be that they end up hitting your guys as well. It's more like what you don't want to play Warhammer. I mean, you play what you want to play. It's one of the things is it's like, I wouldn't mind actually trying to get into some sort of like tabletop war games. It's just I don't have the time and energy to get involved in yet another system. Along with the fact that you're out of health. That's not pretty. If you could die already, that would be great.
I shall deal with this one.
Okay, he died. Okay, loot bodies.
All right then.
Loot this. Ooh, a fine pike. And make our way back to the campsite. I am playing this on normal difficulty. Remember, incoming friendly fire has right away. Yes, the thing is, not all of the things actually deal friendly fire, even though you would think that it was. You know, a lightning bolt is a lightning bolt. Whether it goes through you or around you is not open for debate. But apparently magic says that it does go around you. But yeah, normal difficulty retro Ted for the time being. I'm not above lowering the difficulty down, as I've suggested to yourself. I think the other issue that I have with Assault Light Warhammer is, you know, unless you're playing it on a friendly basis with other players that you know aren't going to gank you, could be in a Faraday cage slash suit, could be, but I'm not. You know, Warhammer can be a little bit of a sort of like pay to win situation, where if you haven't got this latest greatest model of mini, then you're not allowed to field the latest greatest army that you may desire to field. And if I'd have lost that last fight, I would have put it down. Oh yeah, Icewind Dale. Yeah, that was a rough fight. Have you been back to that place and cleared out the treasure, by the way? I know that's something you said you were going to do off stream, but you might want to get around to doing that sooner or later. But yeah, I'm playing this on normal difficulty. We'll probably continue to play it on normal difficulty until it gets... Warhammer tends to get shafted by Forge World stuff. I missed loads. Yeah. It's one of them where it's like, if I knew... I never know whether to give advice out on people's streams when it comes to sort of like builds of characters. There's got to be an easier way of getting up and down this place. Traipse across the room, go through a loading screen, go through a loading screen, go through a loading screen. To get back outside to where we were. Don't have an iron... A Forge World made mini. You're gonna be uphill all the way. I have no idea what people are talking about. It's possibly some pay to win thing that I mentioned, by the sounds of it. Even without Forge World, 40k has a slog of first turn Alpha Strike is greater than going second. To the courtyard, to the Armory Temple. Okay. Let's do a quick check for traps on this box right here. Nothing? Okay, great stuff. We're gonna go take a look in the Armory. Armories are fun places to be, right? No guards. Forge World is the in-house super special mega awesome shop. Okay.
I can get it to spill its done. Secrets.
We got fine breastplates. Who is wearing medium? Oh, it's not telling me on this screen for some reason.
I shall make it so.
Well, make it so then.
It's done.
Oh, good. Oh. Alright. Let's do a little sorting of inventory. Fine Brigandine medium armor. Who's wearing medium? Are you wearing medium? You're wearing medium. Properties overseeing. What is overseeing? Plus 10% error ability area effect, but it's slow. It's faster than that. But 10 DR is a lot better than 6 DR. So I'm going to put you in that for now. That can go in there. That can go in there. That is slightly better on the damage, but it doesn't have the burning lash. I'm not sure how useful fire damage is. Though with a couple of things could actually make slightly different ones, although we probably prefer burning. And this shield, how does that compare to the larder door? The property is fine. What does that mean? +4 deflection. Where at the moment you have bashing 2. Granting bash. Crust damage. I mean, the deflection is probably just better. It is a bit of a shame that I'm having to put away the barn door, but I think having the DR is better. Have a deflection. Leather armor. Hide armor. That can go away, that can go away. I've picked up a lot of accidental stuff here. Full helm. Stiletto. Greatsword. Warbow. Another stiletto. Some rods. And a fine stick. I mean quarterstaff. See, another thing that I'm terrible at is using want a Warlord Titan in 40k Forge World, want a special Dreadnought Forge World, etc. There are things that I would change about my party if I did it again, but I'm happy with them, and the difficulty forces me to get creative. Plastic models are just Games Workshop, and some resins, with some of them the resin being them as well as the fine cast stuff. Forge World exclusively does resin. From upgrade kits, weapons, armor, pauldrons, vehicle doors with specific symbols, and super units. Okay. But yeah, it sounds more play to winny stuff. Which is something that I'm not really, you know, I don't have the money to get into another hobby. The air in the stable is heavy with bat dung. This sounds like a terrible idea to go across the courtyard, because I can see people up there. Right, so stop sneaking. Let's move back through here. And so yeah, to get into something like that, you either need to have a lot more money, just to start off with, and be so like, yep, I have the money to pay for everything that I might want, and without any experience of knowing what you need to win the game. Because that's the other thing. It's like it
I shall make it so.
requires one of the yes. Pick that lock.
It's done.
Okay, great stuff. We got into this room. We opened this room. So Forge can be pay to win if you want super units, but it can also be flavored as visual upgrades. Yeah, Magic the Gathering can be pay to win, although to a certain degree there are different. So I used to play a little bit of Magic the Gathering, and what there is like a draft game, which I always preferred. So everybody brings to the table 3 booster packs. And these are sealed. Nobody knows what's in them, but everybody brings 3 booster packs of the required type, whether it be the latest, or whether it be the current season, or whether it be just a free-for-all and open anything you want. You open a pack, you look through the cards, you take out the one you want, you pass the pack to your right. Everybody does this around the table, and you build up your deck as you go. Once you've done that, you open up your second pack, take a card that you want, pass to your left. It keeps going round until all the cards are gone. You open the third pack, take one, pass that to your right, around it goes, and then you get to add into whatever cards you've chosen, whatever land you want. Land is what is used for casting spells, and there are a dime a dozen. You'll usually find in any store that stocks Magic the Gathering cards, they'll have boxes of land just freely available for anybody to take if they want it. Of the basic lands. And then you play a number of either a number of elimination matches or a number of overall matches, depending on the setup and the game style of the store, location, whatever. And then you win prizes based off how many wins you got, or if it's an elimination tournament, how far you got through the tournament. And so the entry price, there's usually some manner of additional cost to the entry price. It might be a couple of quid, it might be for a longer session and be a fair amount of money, but of the same token, because nobody knows what is being opened at the time, it's not play to win, but you do need to be able to quickly figure out what is going to work based off the cards that you see. This frail old priest is hunched over a table, surrounded by scattered scrolls and parchment, examining their contents with the aid of a thick monocle. He glances up at you as you approach, blinking rheumy eyes. More visitors, then? You're not one of the acolytes, or the guards, for that matter, he says in a dry, quiet rasp, which makes you an intruder at the least. Kolsk put you up to this, I suppose? Yes, that would be him, sending young women to dash themselves against Keep's defences. He shakes his head. Would that my sermons could draw such fever. Still, you are here. What is it you want? Gayako is safe. He asked me to tell you about the carving you gave him. Nedmar's eyes widen. With such vigour, he rushes forward to grasp your arm. Oh, thank the gods, thank you. I did not think anyone could. That is, I feared. He shakes his head. I did not want him to meet the Pale Knight so soon. Nedmar pulls away, collecting himself. Here, Perhaps this will serve as a reward. He pulls out a large iron key from his pocket of his robe and hands it to you. This will open a door to the scriptorium. He points west, and from there you can reach the chapel and Lord Redrick without encountering quite so many guards. Take this too. I have little wealth to offer. Better to give something of use. 2 scrolls of protection added to inventory. I would entreat you before you go. Despite his shortcomings, Lord Redrick follows the gods with obedience, and he has the Gilded Vale's best interests in mind. It may be that, with time, he can achieve what he desires. Please consider this before you turn to violence. What does this key open? It's a master key. Nedmar writes his hands as he speaks. It will not open every door, but it will permit you access to the stairs leading down into the Lord's Chapel. It will also open the doors along the keep's main hall, but you will face heavy fighting if you go that way. You do not have much time. Whatever your intent, Lord Redrick will soon discover that one of his prisoners has escaped, and then you will lose the element of surprise. I thought you'd favour Collox. I thought you'd favour Collox as Lord of the Redrick's Hold. I favour him as he is, a man of vision, but Collox has a hunger in him for rule, even if to good purpose. He is not led by his faith. Still, he is my friend, and I am willing to assist Collox in restoring divine favour to the lands of the Gilded Vale. Should Lord Redrick fall, that is. I need to rest. But surely you don't mean to. Nedmar shifts uncomfortably, looking out towards the hallway. Very well, I cannot ask you to brave the dungeons when you are not your fittest. Rest here for a few hours, and I will ensure no one enters. Would you like to rest for 8 hours? Yes, I would. Hey, Jason. I've still got Pokemon card decks I've yet to open. Yeah, it's a lot of card games can be, and getting back to Retro Ted's thing, it's they can be play to win if you play with constructed decks where you can bring in whatever deck that you want. Which can be problematic for very beginner players who don't know any better, and they go to the store, they buy an intro deck of cards, which is the season's selection of cards. It usually has some kind of feature card in there, and then cards to supplement it. But not outstanding ones, and very rarely will you get in there any of the top tier mythic or rare cards. Rite of Youthful Spirits. Rites are a special type of magical scroll. The ritual contained on the scroll allows a reader to grant a specific skill bonus to all of his or her allies for a long duration. Plus 3 athletics for 120 seconds. That's going to take a while to read. But yeah, the intro decks, they're great for getting into the game because everything synergizes with everything else. You'll often get a booster pack in there, so you can take a look and see what cards you get. You might get lucky, and some others can be substituted in. And then you'll take your intro deck and whatever cards you've switched in and out, hoping that it'll help, and play against somebody with a constructed deck and just get absolutely decimated. Because they've got a very finely tuned deck. And to get anywhere near that finely tuned deck, you've either got to pay thousands upon thousands for random cards and hope to crack open the one that you need and add it into your deck, or you have to go away and buy the individual cards off people who have opened up thousands of cards. And Yeah, constructed I feel is the worst, but it isn't quite as random as the drafts. The drafts are all fine and well, but at the same token, it has a problem of being far too random for a lot of people's desires, and you need to know how to build a deck on the fly rather than go for a constructed deck, which many people favor. It's Ali's fault for selling intro decks. Oh, I'll pick up a deck for me and Ghost of Sunny to play. Years later, deck remained sealed. I mean, Aldi's fault. I was so like, who's Ali? The thing is, it's like, why don't you just crack them open and play? You know, you got plenty of board games, and I assume that you'll play at some stages. And see how it is. You might enjoy it. You might despise it. Who knows? Characters in order of appearance. Man. Male, a ghostly being. Female, a ghostly being. Beggar. Starving man. Injured man. Setting. Empty field. No trees or buildings in sight. A man lies on the center stage, on the ground center stage. He wakes slowly and looks around. Two ghostly beings approach him. A male from the stage left and a female from stage right. Where am I? What has happened? Nothing has happened. How did I get here? You did not arrive. You are just here. What is going on? You are traveling. We will travel with you. They both reach out a hand to him, insistently. He looks at them, not sure what to do. After a few moments of deliberation, he takes male's hand and allows him to help. Male, aside to female. His soul is strong. This decision will be easy. Female, aside to male. Such arrogance surely will be your undoing. They walk to the end of the stage and encounter Beggar holding out a bowl. Will you help the needy? Will you help hear the call for charity? What will you do for those less fortunate? Here is a beggar. What will you do? He has no food, no clothes. He is destitute and will surely die if no mercy is shown for him. Female. Surely he deserves no mercy. Look at his legs. Do they not move? Look at his arms. Can they not work? Look at his eyes. Can they not see? Surely he can provide for himself. What will you do? The man ponders for a moment, then reaches into his pocket and drops a coin into the beggar's bowl. Thank you, kind sir. May your charity come back to you in turn. Why do you give alms to this beggar? I saw a man in need. It is not for me to say if he deserves mercy, only that I need provide mercy if I am able. I have the means to help, so I help. If he has the ability to provide for himself and does not, that is on his head, not mine. If I can provide the light of dawn to a man in need, it is my duty to do so. Male, aside to female. He knows charity, even disguised as a beggar. His mind is open. Female, aside to male. Even those with an open mind can be closed down. Male and female. Let us continue our journey. It's a lot of reading. I don't understand the Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive meta these days, blah blah blah. I don't understand any of that. I got into Pokemon trading card with Detective Pikachu came out, but I haven't picked them up since. Those role names aren't exactly going to be to get anyone's IMDb account noticed. Lol. The thing is, though, this is before IMDb, so it's just like you need somebody who looks like a man, somebody who looks like a male ghost, a female ghost, a beggar, and a starving man. And an injured man. I was deep on the Merciless trading back when they first came out. The game is actually pretty fun, but I didn't actually play it till about the same time as yourself. A lot of reading, but I am disappointed with the lack of flops. I mean, you should just be impressed at the number of voices I've got to be doing for all of this. This is a play of one man. Right, let us continue our journey. They walked to the outer edge of the stage, leaving the beggar behind. They approached the starving man, who puts out his hands in supplication. A crust, a morsel, please. Such generosity will not allow you to stand by and let someone starve. This man is starving. What will you do? He is on the brink of death. Only an act of generosity will save him. What need has this man that he cannot provide for himself? Why should you turn over that which you earned to one who has done no such act and who deserves nothing from you? What will you do? Again, the man considers what he will do. He reaches into his pocket and retrieves a piece of bread and gives it to the starving man. Thank you, good sir. May your generosity be returned unto you tenfold. Male, female. Why did you give the food to the hungry? I saw a man who hungered. It is not for me to say if he deserved a morsel, only that I need provide a morsel if I am able. I have this food to spare, so I give. If I can open a man's eyes to the light, it is my duty to do so. Male aside to female. He knows generosity, even disguised as a starving man. His heart is giving. Female aside to male. Even those with a giving heart can be greedy. Male and female. We will continue our journey. And then it stops. There's no page 2. There is going to be an injured man, and I now need to find this other freaking page. Yield void contest. And not pocket bread. Well, if the guy is starving, pocket bread will still be a blessing. I mean, I have the feeling that the guy is dead. And he's just getting tested.
And what does the flame reveal?
The flame reveals Barathian scripture. Behold, thou faithful, the visage of thy transformation. Fear not the journey when the portal opens. Become one with the wheel, and with glad heart and cheerful countenance, for the doorway shall open for all in their time. Neither the rich nor influential, neither kings nor rulers, neither the strong nor powerful can escape its embrace. Barath will usher thee through the doorway, and thou wilt return to life, thy mortal life begun anew. There goeth the cycle, there goeth life. There thou goest also. Thou shalt approach the door, the inevitable shall approach thee. Do not turn back on the portal. Do not turn back on new life. Walk the path and welcome change, or face the night. For he walks the road with thee and will guide all to their destination. Thou mortal, the skull thou wilt become. Thou closed off, the key thou shalt turn. Thou sealed, the threshold thou shalt cross. If he's dead, it has nothing to do with it. You can prove me wrong with dash. If he's dead, then it had nothing to do with the pocket bread, and you can't prove me wrong. Cause of death too much, pocket breath. It starts with the bread, and then it becomes pocket bacon. Pocket bacon, delicious emergency food. Not the pocket pork. You're all just having a little old time with yourselves over in chat. Fair enough. Over 5 years following his ascension to Greth, Admeth attempted to mend relations with the Glenfartham and bring his land together with theirs. He enacted laws that restricted the taking of new slaves, allowing Glenfarthams to buy their fellows out of bondage, and impose a tax on slave ownership in order to promote the use of free labour. While there was some resistance to these new laws, the Fairconig's attention to Red Siras and Admeth's power, backed by the colonists, made it difficult for the earls to truly resist what was happening. Now, my cat, is your chance for the flubs. In 2662 AI, in the year of the 10th anniversary of the War of Black Trees, Admeth brought about the end of slavery in the Briarwood. He negotiated a series of treaties with the Glenfarthams within a timeline wherein a timeline was established for the official emancipation of all remaining slaves. Each owner would receive compensation in either land or money based on the number of slaves freed. If they did not comply, the slaves would be seized and their former masters would suffer a substantial fine. In return for this, the Glenfarthams opened trade routes with the Direwood, and the Direwodians to live in near areas that had their sacred ruins, but they are under no conditions to enter the ruins. As a final act of goodwill, Admeth freed Galvin Raig, saying he had suffered sufficiently for his actions. The Fairconig, seeing he was completely out of control in his own Palatine, devised a plan to get the supply of ancient artifacts running again. He approached the earls suffering under Admeth's rule and convinced them to hire agents to raid the ruins. Initially, they did so in secret, but they quickly became sloppy, eventually being caught. This breach of the treaties incited Glenfarthams again to acts of violence against Admeth. This breach of the treaties incited Glenfarthams again to acts of violence, while Admeth researched who was behind it. With help of the Glenfartham leaders, Admeth found evidence that pointed back to the Fairconig as the source of the raids. That was the beginning of the end of Adairan rule in Briarwood. Over the next 7 years, Admeth and the Fairconig maneuvered about each other, playing political, economical, and military games in order to gain the upper hand. In 2668 AI, Admeth declared the Briarwood had enough. The Fairconig would no longer be recognized. The Briarwood was now free entirely and would govern itself. This started the War of Defiance, which lasted 5 years. The end result of the war was freedom for the Briarwood, although the Duke Hardred would never live to see it come to a close. The people of Briarwood consider him the founder of the country nevertheless. Oh, fine robes. Skull of minor restoration and spirits. And the music's gone away. Alright. Where was that key supposed to be for? Is it this door back here? There we go. Prove a scriptorium. And save. AI after indigestion of the aforementioned pocket foods. I mean, that might be why they stopped using the pocket foods. Hello. See, I have a feeling that this guy might indeed try to murder me. Rhetoric. Let her approach, flanked by a host of guards, all of whom regard you with mute hostility. Lord Rhetoric VII observes you from his throne, clad in ornate plate. His eyes have a hollow quality. There is no pallor in the man's gaunt face that leaves his features showing stark against his dark and unkempt hair. There is a dagger discarded upon one stone arm of the throne. A thin, crimson rivulet worms its way down from the blade past Rhetoric's fingers, even as he leans forward to regard you with a piercing gaze. Thought he'd be better looking, even with all the inbreeding. Though his face is calm, you notice Edra's hand straying towards his weapon, as though with a mind of its own. It seems I have you to thank for the chaos spreading through my keep. I half expected some invading army.
It is unlike Kolsch to hire mercenaries, or foreigners for that matter. And you are not one of mine, so I cannot accuse you of treason.
Rheric's voice is a low rasp, his gaze fixed upon you. He smiles grimly, flashing white teeth. His fingers close loosely around the pommel of the dagger, as if ascertaining if it's still there, and then flinch away. Perhaps he ought to have considered such tactics sooner. You'd have made short work of my guards. His eyes narrow. They were good and loyal servants, loyal to my coin, if not to me. They deserved a better fate than you gave them.
What has my cousin promised you? Some grand reward? If he had any resources to his name, he would not covet mine. And if he had any honor in him, he would not have tried this here, now, when I have lost so much.
A lot of talking today. Though 2.5 hours into a stream, as expected. Gilded Vale has suffered under your rule and deserves a better leader. Rhetoric makes a low, huffing noise of disbelief. And you think that Kolsk is that leader? What does he understand of what it means to be a Thane? He has gathered a meagre assembly of illiterate farmers and scavengers to himself, and sends these in suicidal action against my guards.
You are a pawn in Kolsch's designs, and he has kept his motivations from you for a reason. I wonder if you understand what it is you do, or what you might accomplish if you were better informed.
He studies you with a fierce intensity.
You have proven your competence in your way, and had I such an ally, we might together put an end to Gilded Vale's woes, lift the curse once and for all, and in doing so, return us to a life where such strict measures are not necessary.
Kolsk is your cousin?
Oh, yes. We are kin, he and I. He was raised within these walls, in fact, privy to all the privileges our family had to offer. But a greedy man always hungers after more than he receives, however bountiful. I was eldest, heir to the stewardship of our lands, and he was not.
The legacy brought chaos with it, panic and despair. Kolosk took advantage of that chaos, creating division in our ranks, luring loyal men and women to his cause. Good men, good women. Redrick's gaze goes distant for a moment, and then he glances at you and his lip curls. He fled the keep in time to hold up in the wilds beyond the village, to play at being a commoner, to court favour with the people. And while he plays at conqueror, the Vale suffers, families, traders, all. I do not have enough men to guard the roads and defend us from Kolok's incursions both. My attention suffers, and so my governance, my family. Roderick breathes out through his nose. Nor can I make the effort necessary to bring about the end of this curse if we are beset at all hours by his traitorous plots. What have you lost?
There is a plague among us here in Gilded Vale. The legacy is but part of it. The rest is fear, heresy, perversion. Each incident alone is but the flicker of a candle. But together, a blaze that will destroy us.
The legacy makes men mad. Perhaps it does worse to women. I do not know. His gaze flicks toward you, searching, and then turns away. They cling to hollow promises, to dark and terrible things. Each lie permitted feeds the fire, every whisper from preening charlatans and venom-tongued midwives, the words of false prophets, the promises of dead gods. He clenches a gloved fist.
The flame consumed her, my Ygritte, and our child with it.
Roderick looks at his dagger and his voice catches briefly in his throat. What happened here?
A just sentence.
Redrick turns his head slightly to regard the dagger. Then is suddenly carefully stillness. There is a sudden careful stillness in his expression. His voice wavers, and in that moment a pang of grief crosses his face. Ygritte knew. She hid the verses from me, the tokens. She knew what I would make of them. The scattered gods poisoned her against me, made her deaf to my instruction. Only when our son was born, that hollow thing, that monster, then we both knew what her crimes had wrought. Roderick turns a baleful look upon you, jaw working, face flushed and splotchy with emotion. I could not stand it. He brings his hand up suddenly towards his temple, obscuring his face. What does Kolsk know of sacrifice? He would indulge himself. Let us succumb one by one and suffer Barath's punishment, until the final soul goes into the keeping, never to return, and the Gilded Vale is but a barren land. You murdered your own wife and your child. I carried out the sentence. Would you have me give her to the executioner? In the Direwood we see into our own justice. Redrick sits back in his throne, his knuckles white upon the armrest. And that thing, that silent aberration, that was not alive to kill. That was not alive to kill. I read it right the first time. His dark eyes narrow. His dark eyes narrow. Keep your recriminations, trespasser. I have done my duty. I'm not here for speeches. I came to stop you.
Stop me from saving Gilded Vale, from doing what I must to see this curse lifted and our children restored. What purpose is there in that? No, you come to put a weaker man upon the throne for no reason but that he clamors for it, and claim it just. You are a pawn in Kolsch's designs, and he has kept his motivations from you for a reason. I wonder if you understand what it is you do, or what you might accomplish if you were better informed.
I'm acutely aware there's 6 people around this throne. And Redrick himself. 7 people around this throne and Redrick himself.
So be it.
What?
May the twinned god take pity upon your splintered soul, and scatter it to the winds.
Didn't mean to click on that one, but it was kind of one of the ones that I was going to click on. Your people deserve justice. This ends here. Redrick's frown deepens, but he only nods. So be it. Redrick rises from the throne, and around him his guards settle into battle stances. May the twinned gods take pity upon your splintered souls and scatter it to the winds. Right. Now is the time that we run away a little bit. That is not who I wanted to get out of there. That's that's not a great thing to be doing. Oh, I got mullered.
You can
Oh, you also got mullered. Do that. What does this do again? The Watcher unravels vital essences from his enemies, gaining endurance in the process. I will do that. Who is this? Ida. Trip up that guy. You are not in a happy position. I need to stay kind of close. How are you doing? Oh, you went down like a sack of spuds. Could really do with you not being in the middle of all that. Nope, you got knocked down as well. This ended badly. Run away.
This thing isn't doing the job. Lava.
Make with the murder. Make with the murder.
You're not getting through me.
And we're all KO'd. Your party has died. Yeah, just a little bit of whoops there, Creeper. The thing is,
Of course.
I don't think I should be here just yet. You know, there's 4 of me, and there's 8 of them. I have a feeling that now is the time to extract myself from this situation. Do some other stuff. And come back later? I know to a certain degree that kind of breaks the narrative a little bit. It's like you fight all the way up to the Lord and then turn around and run away. But with that, you know, I do not feel that it would be my choice to leave him in power. I'm not sure I trust this Kolsk guy either. But at the same token, Kolsk hasn't murdered his own wife and child. It absolutely does. It absolutely does what? That I feels like I'm here at the wrong time. Breaking the narrative, or... I mean, it's breaking the narrative. Yeah, it breaks the narrative because I got most of the way there. But it honestly feels like going back to tabletop analogies, it feels like the GM gave the players open play to go wherever they want and do whatever they want without kind of guiding them towards where they should be going at their level, which is not there, and hasn't had the time to sort out the fight so that it's a reasonable difficulty for the players who went there. And what really should happen, to a certain extent, is the players don't go there. But the rest of the castle felt normal difficulty. Yeah, the rest of the castle, it did feel that I could accomplish it. Which is a bit more on the perplexing side, but it was a bit of a tough fight. You know, it's even just the other fights in that place felt more difficult than anything else that I'd come across yet. But it was one of them where, sorry, you take care of the couple of fights, you walk away, you take care of a couple more, you walk away, you take care of a couple more. There is somebody outside this place called Kana, and they have a name, so I'm going to talk to them. Just off the side of the path into Seidnua stands an imposing figure, a tall, thick-set Amua, clad in woven armor and peering at the outer walls of the keep. In his hand is a small piece of charcoal, and it works feverishly at taking notes upon a small scrap of paper. More than once he has to reach up to prevent his colourful cap from falling off his head as he gazes upwards. That mouldy brickwork must be fascinating. The man looks over at you, blinking in surprise, his face split with a wide and very toothy grin. He waves a parchment in greeting.
It is. Well, not the wall itself, perhaps. The construction is very traditional. There are names scratched upon some of the bricks. Just there. Workers and masons, I expect. Carving a little immortality for themselves. It's a fine keep, Cadnor. 2 centuries to its name, and abandoned for nearly as long.
Cad Noir. He looks up at the wall again, expression fond.
But the truly interesting part is in there, and I haven't had much luck in reaching the keep itself. I hoped to find the master of this place, a man by the name of Meerwald, but it seems that he either holds his privacy most dear, or else has been devoured by his house guests.
I came here looking for Meerwalder as well.
Oh, truly? Then perhaps we can help one another. The grounds are infested with all manner of beasts. I've never seen the like. I didn't want to risk it alone. You seem capable. Together, I'm sure we can manage it. And then we can both ask our questions of Meerwald. I seek a great treasure, you see. Not gold or silver, but the Tanvi Oratoa. You might call it the Book of Virtues. It's a sacred text of the Realtime, but we possess only a fragment of it. A year I've journeyed in search of the rest, and I uncovered evidence that leads me to believe the original lies just there, beneath the keep.
Why would this Tavi Orara Tohar be here in the Drywood? Precisely, that is a very good question, he laughs. It is long and twisted tale, my friend, as all good chants should be. I can tell you more, if you wish, in time. Let us go meet Meerwald, then.
Excellent. Lead on, my friend, and I will be at your heels. Ah, wait. Speaking of that, I ought to warn you first. Wondrous teeth, I nearly forgot. I have, at times, been followed. It began in Adir, and in Exometal they attacked outright. I believe they do not wish for me to find what I am looking for. I say believe, but I have been told as much by one of my would-be assassins. I paid them little mind. Humorless swords and long robes. But it's why I bought the sword, you see. And it's only fair that you should know.
What are a few would-be assassins between friends?
I'm glad you're not discouraged. Come then. Who knows what we will find inside?
They are in a magenta. That's not how you do it. And that's not how you do it. That's how you do it. The March of Coma. At sight of their comrades, their hearts grew bold. Blessed was the when Genneth quickest of his tribe. Come, come, soft winds of death. And then in slot B, we do all of it. Oh no, we don't need to do that. We need that, and then that, and then that. What's this? This is Bold Hearts. Swift Feet. Drains a portion of endurance from all enemies in the area of effect. Soft winds. There we go. And under this you've got Skelly Boys as well. I wonder if that means I can have 6 skeletons. That might even the odds in some places. And health, a high wrath crashed upon the shield. Reduces damage reduction of enemies in the area of effect, and the thunder rolled like waves on black seas. Creates a thunderous explosion that stuns and shoves enemies in the area of the effect. Okay.
Hey.
Only a fool goes straight in through the front door. One shattered cask still smells faintly of ale, long spilt in the dirt. See, this is the other thing that I feel, you know, so like 2 more people, 1 more level, and I think the fight in the keep is likely to feel more balanced.
Looks like this place has been abandoned for years.
We have shadows.
Where they still must meet.
We have a lot of shadows. We have a will-o'-the-wisp. What? No, dazed and confused. I thought you said you had a sword. You have a gun? An arquebus?
Following your lead.
You feel like getting back in this fight? It's time for all the skellybobs. Make with the murder. Donance is down. Skellybob is gone. Skellybob is gone. It disappeared. Oh no, it died.
Hey.
System shock. Defense against prone stunned attacks and -8 damage reduction versus shock.
Alright then.
That sounds like fun. Frayed lengths of rope and a few flint chips are scattered across this workbench. Only weeds grow in this dusty patch.
Where they still must meet.
Curses!
Yeah, one of them slipped past.
Following your lead. Your tail ends here.
Will you stop getting murdered?
Burn this!
Leave it to me.
Skellybobs. Skellybobs. We need all of the skellybobs. You're getting murdered. Immune to disease, ground, hobbled, poison, sickened, stunned, struck. Doesn't say that they're immune to necrotic damage. Oh, you're stunned. We are getting murdered over here. Thing is, with all of the effects going on, so difficult to actually keep up with everything that's going on. Could you guys entertain these guys? No, I want you to kill that one, and you to kill that one, and you to kill that one.
Me too.
Is that not dead yet? Oh no, that's dead now.
Yeah. Bro. Not quite. Where?
Stand still.
You're not getting through me.
Alright, everybody wail on the will-o'-the-wisp. There we go. The hedges grows in shaggy heaps shot through with weeds and tall grasses. You need to go somewhere closer to the back.
All right then. You're not getting through me.
Close your eyes, Roger. Not all of us are on such bad terms with sleep.
What are you complaining about?
Of course.
Tangled wires and broken gears litter these wooden boxes. Skeletons! More skeletons!
Leave it to me.
Me too.
One side of this pillar is graven with hundreds of swirls and ridges. Even under the layer of grime and moss, the adler gleams. This trapdoor has been battered by the elements. Tugging on the rusted handles only produces a heavy rattling.
Me too.
The way is blocked.
Me too.
What?
Do you have an alternative weapon? You don't. Do we have a bow for this guy? We have a fine crossbow for you. Here, have a fine crossbow.
Hey,
You won't be very good at it, but at least it should keep you out of harm's way.
Leave our village! We've done nothing to you!
Que fecimos mitum.
Leave it to me! Curses! Verathus!
Oh, no, I didn't want to move everybody. I wanted you. Oh, no, you've been stunned and confused. Okay, great stuff.
Too long has it been
You're going to stand over there where it's slightly safer because you've got 18 health left. Lizard skins, knuckle bones, and teeth of various sizes lie among the weeds. I'll talk to this villager, see if he's got anything interesting to say, but I do believe it is time for me to call the stream here. What?
Hey.
You can't do this!
Spectral smoke churns all around you. At first you see nothing except the haze, but gradually you make out a small, wizened, hunched shape of an old elven man. His face and bone-thin arms are smeared with paint. You can't do this. He shakes his head, spitting the words at you. Do what?
This is our village, our home. The Nine Claws have lived here almost 50 generations. We were here long before your kind brought war to our lands. You can't just burn it all.
You can't tell whether he's squinting through the smoke or scowling at you. He shudders with a cough.
Have mercy, soldier. Our warriors have all gone. You can't burn us all because of them.
After a pause, he draws back and gapes at you in horror, seemingly in response to something you didn't actually say. But the illusionary tongues of flame flicker in the corners of your vision. He reaches out to you and opens his mouth to say something, but what emerges is a series of violent coughs. He falls to his knees, choking on the thickening smoke. Flames overtake the vision as you back away. On that cheerful note, that is where we are going to be leaving it for this session. End of session 4. End of session 4. Save. I thank you for joining as I restart my usual schedule of Pillars of Eternity, Prey, and other things. Been Karen Russmore, will continue to be Karen Russmore. This is my stream of Pillars of Eternity, which is likely to be continuing on at least until Final Fantasy XIV login servers die down a little. It might even continue on past that. I've not made my mind up with Final Fantasy XIV, but at the moment, even if I wanted, I couldn't get on the servers, not for hours of waiting. I thank you for joining me. I will be back on Thursday at 8 PM at GMT and on Friday at 9 PM GMT. However, you will also be able to find me over on Manapot Studios on Friday. I think about 7:30ish, where I will be joining JStation64, Creeper Banal, and Retro Ted in the character creation for a one-shot of the Tales from the Loop RPG. You can also find me in Creeper Banal, JStation64, Retro Ted, and Crit Commissions on Monday over on Manapot Studios, where we play through an adventure path life free or die in a stream that we called All That Glitters Explodes. And you can also find me, JStation, RetroTed, and Creeper Binal on our Discord server, where we hang out and chat about all things gamey. So that's the Discord link. Glitters. That is the All That Glitters Explodes link. And I don't think I've got anything else on that side of things. What I am just going to check is there anybody around that I wish to raid? Usually on the Tuesdays there isn't. I would like to find somebody who streams on the Tuesdays, but I've yet to do so. Yeah, unfortunately there isn't anybody who is streaming at the moment that I wish to raid, so I am just going to call the stream here. Thank you for your participation in all of this, and until I'm stumbling through the freestyling goodbyes. It's probably going to get clipped later, but anyway, until next time, I bid you farewell. Tidy bye.